Okay, this is a way of replicating the entire Chartres Labyrinth using just 4 markers or even just 2, these 2 green ones. They could be candles or vases of flowers or stones or trees. You don't really need the 2 blue ones, you could just have the 2 green ones. And walking figure 8 patterns through these. I call this the model railroad layout or the model railroad labyrinth because the walk reminded me of the kind of thing you would use for an elementary child's model railroad. You might have an oval around the outside, and then if you want to change directions, you have these S curves in the middle. You go around the S, and now you're going around the other direction. And then if you go around the S, you're going around the other direction. And that kind of points out that when you're doing this, you're either going to be following this S shape or this oval shape. You are never going to be going this direction, okay? But in practice, you don't have the pencil lines, you just have the markers. I was debating whether to give the whole background or just to do the basic pattern. I think I'll just do the basic pattern first, and then I'll show you how that relates to this labyrinth. So I'm thinking of, I'm calling these half turns and quarter turns. Maybe this is the best place to see it. A quarter turn, you're going around one loop like that. So I'm calling that a quarter. There's another quarter. And then a half, you're going around half of the circle. But since you're always starting in the center, you have to go all the way around like that. I'm calling that a half, and I'm calling that a half. Back here, let me take out these 2 markers. You could think of these as being quarter notes. So if you go around 1, there's a quarter note. There's a quarter note. If you go around 2 quarter notes, that's a half note. Okay. The basic pattern looks like this: quarter, quarter, half, quarter, half, quarter, half. Okay, so quarter, quarter, half, quarter, half, quarter, half. If you do that 3 times, you will be doing most of this pattern, and I'll explain how in a little bit. But let's just look at that. Quarter, quarter, half, quarter, half, quarter, half. There's 1. Quarter, quarter, half, quarter, half, quarter, half. There's 2. Quarter, quarter, half, quarter, half, quarter, half. There's 3. I'm holding the camera and trying to do this, so I may not be doing it entirely correctly. And then you could just stop in the center. Now let's talk about the Chartres Labyrinth. I went through a lot of time and thinking to memorize this pattern, but what I finally came up with is this visualization. There's an introduction, a middle part, and a conclusion. In the introduction, you do a quarter, quarter. Now this time the quarter is an actual quarter circle, and a half is a half circle. So you do a quarter, quarter, half, half. That's the introduction. And my finger is not precisely following this, but it is going the right direction for all of it. Then we get to the main part of it. We're going to do a zigzag, quarter, quarter. That zigzag is like the figure 8, okay? So introduction, quarter, quarter, half, half. Main part, quarter, quarter, half, quarter, half, quarter, half. Quarter, quarter, half, quarter, half, quarter, half. Quarter, quarter, half, quarter, half, quarter, half. Now we're ready for the conclusion. Quarter, quarter, half, half, quarter, quarter, in. Okay. So from there, I did what I call the Weaver's Labyrinth, which looks like this. I'm just going to go over it very briefly because I did it in another video. But the quarter turns, you're going around 1 marker, quarter, quarter, And then for the half, you go around 2 markers. 2, back to the center, 2, back to the center. When I did this in my other video, I went around the inside and around the outside, but I think to make sense of this one, I'm going to think of the half as around 2. So quarter, quarter, half around 2, half around 2. Okay. All right, quarter, quarter, half, half. Now we start the main part. Quarter, quarter, half around 2, back up, pick up at 1, quarter, half, quarter, half. Then we go the other way. Quarter, quarter, half, quarter, half, quarter, half. Then we go the third one. Quarter, quarter, half, quarter, half, quarter, half. Then we're ready for the conclusion. Quarter, quarter, half, half, quarter, quarter, in. To get from the Weaver's Labyrinth to the Model Railroad Labyrinth, you zip it. Instead of looking at these 2 points and these 2 points, take these 2 and move this one back around here. So instead of going quarter, quarter, and then around these 2, you do quarter, quarter, and back around these 2. Okay? So on the Weaver's Labyrinth, it would look like quarter, quarter, half, quarter, half, quarter, half. But on the Model Railroad Labyrinth, it looks like this. Quarter, quarter, half, quarter, half, quarter, half. And that third one, that half is like this half at the end of that first repeat. Okay, so let's go over and do the Chartres pattern using the 2 stones. First, the introduction. Now, when you come into the Chartres Labyrinth, you go in toward the center and then turn left. We're going to do that here too. Pass by this and turn left. So there's walking into the labyrinth. Then you do quarter, quarter, half, half. Now we're ready for the main body of the pattern. Quarter, quarter, half, quarter, half, quarter, half. That's 1. Quarter, quarter, half, quarter, half, quarter, half. That's 2. Quarter, quarter, half, quarter, half, quarter, half. That's 3. Then we're going to do the conclusion. Quarter, quarter, half, half, quarter, quarter, and end. And then you can just pause here and meditate as long as you want. You're in the center of the labyrinth. You're using the 4 candles. That can be very meditative. If you want to come out of the labyrinth, you're basically just doing the same pattern starting this way. It's exact same pattern. So you do your introduction, quarter, quarter, half, half, and then start with your 3. Quarter, quarter, half, quarter, half, quarter, half, and so on. If you repeat the exact same pattern, you're coming out. To me, that feels sort of repetitive. So, and again, you could do the quarter, quarter, half, quarter, half, quarter, half pattern as many times as you wanted to, or you don't even have to do that pattern. You could just do figure 8s and half circles, as many as you know, with no pattern at all. And that could be very meditative too. So that is the Model Railroad Labyrinth. I am going to, I've debated about whether to do this, but I guess I am. I'm going to go outside and show you what this looks like in real life. This can be somewhat vertiginous. You could get dizzy watching this. You could get motion sickness. So if you think you're If you think you're prone to motion sickness, I don't necessarily recommend it. But here is the Weaver's Labyrinth set up with some markers here in my backyard. And if I did the Weaver's Labyrinth, I'm just going to do the beginning of the main part of it, not the introduction and not the whole thing, because we'll get sick. But if I do a quarter, quarter, and then a half. I'll do one more of those. Quarter, let's fix that. Half. Turn back around. Quarter. And half. That would be one of those little patterns. This gets me over to the right side, and we're ready to repeat going the other way. On the other hand, if I did it with the model railroad, I just use these two markers, and it's the same exact pattern. Quarter, quarter, and when I do the half, instead of going around those two, I go around these two. Half. Quarter, half, around these two. Quarter, and half. And coming around these two at the end is exactly the same as coming around these two at the end. If I came around these two at the end, half. So your body is doing the exact same thing, but just in a very much smaller space. Okay, I'm going to stop that there.